Hello, everybody. All right, so welcome to the Mikestand. Hope everybody enjoyed the show last night with our panel. I think once again thank Metal, Apex, and Apex Comics, and Cross and Rick from Cross Comics for coming on and hanging out and all that. So we're gonna give it a few minutes, give people a chance to get in here. So while we're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and go off camera for a moment, take care of a couple. Oh, Woody's here. Hey, Woody. Hey, Woody. Got a honky love. What? That your impression of the honky tonk man? You're the honky tonk man. You're the honky tonk man. Yeah, the honky tonk man. Yeah, the honky tonk man. I'm good. I'm bad. I'm tough. He's a honky tonk man. 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 He's good. He's bad. He's tough. Yeah, so just give me a sec here. Let's see this on the way. Okay. Alrighty then. So with that, hey Woody. So if you haven't already, if you can like and share this thing, see if we can get some more friendly people in here. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything we talk about tonight grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I'll do the best I can to answer those questions. So with that, let me so so I'm gonna go over a couple of stories for a couple articles from Bounding into Comics tonight, including including um artist Al Nickerson says DC isn't paying him royalties. He's owed for reprints. So we got that. Um, Also, Bean Books is publishing their first graphic novel this summer after being inspired by the success of Eric July's Rippaverse. So we got some skullduggery from of course corporate comics DC. We got a positive story in the fact that another company is getting inspired to produce some stuff. So all right there. Let's see now. Let me just do one more quickie little thing here, and then we will probably go ahead and get started. Also, of course, don't forget we of course do have the wrestling wrap up where we go over the stuff going on in the world of pro wrestling as well as this day in each history. So let me just do something real quick here. Let's see now. All right. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started here. All right, let me go ahead and share the first news. Share the first news article we'll be looking at tonight. Gonna make it right tonight. Whoa. All right. So, anyways, so here we go. As I said, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and we will try to answer the questions to the best of our ability. Let's get into this. Artist and the Sword of Eden creator Al Nickerson says DC isn't paying him royalties he's owed for reprints. Article by J.B. Augustine, published back on June 22nd, which would be last Thursday, I believe. All right, so let's see what's going on here then. We know from the cases of Ethan Van Sciver and Chris Wozniak, as well as by going way back to how they treated Bill Finger, Jerry Siegel, and Joe Shuster, that DC Comics doesn't like to give credit where it's due, much less pay people for their work. That is, until they are lobbied hard enough. And here's Super Kisses, Superman's Girlfriend, Lois Lane, number 53, 1964. So this is. All right, so the historic examples of Finger, Siegel, and Schuster had their fences mended to a fault when their credit as creators was restored to the bylines of Batman and Superman, respectively. But that took decades, and the causes had to be taken up by family and their fan bases. Despite that progress, DC remains up to its old corporate tricks. Yeah, even going as far back as kind of the second set of owners taking the company away from the founder Major Nicholson. This year, a new claim is being lodged by artist and animator Al Nickerson, who says DC hasn't paid him royalties for reprints of his work regardless of the terms in his contract. Consequently, he went public with his grievances using Facebook and YouTube to let his fans know what was up and keep them updated. Quote, I had contacted DC Entertainment in regards to royalties to, in brackets, the recent reprinting of my work, unquote. Nickerson said in a Facebook post, quote, they keep adjusting the threshold to pay a royalty, in smaller quotes, threshold to pay royalties, on smaller quote. So I had to remind them of my contract. Stay tuned for details, unquote. Parenthetically, he added, quote, and this isn't the first time I've had a problem with DC concerning paying me royalties, unquote. And of course, we've heard, as mentioned in the previous paragraph, this is something that DC just continues to do. In the comments, he elaborated, quote, no one at DC Entertainment, nor from Warner Brothers Discovery, has gotten back since the May 1st, quote, your royalty check is in the mail, email to me, smaller quote. Since then, I have emailed them a number of times, brackets, and have gotten no response. Therefore, I suspect that no check was ever mailed to me. Hmm. Nickerson then presented a receipt, a screenshot of the email in question. Quote, here's a screenshot of my email from DC Entertainment letting me know that my royalty check was in the mail. Smaller quote. That was May 1st, unquote. Let's see. He explained, quote, since then, there's been no check. DC Entertainment has not responded to any of my emails nor return any of my phone calls, unquote, Nickerson concluded. Yeah, he may need to stick the lawyers on them. The issue has come up before for both Nickerson and Van Sciver, but they were able to get them solved. Quote, I don't know that Ethan had problems with getting his dough from DC Entertainment. If so, then yeah, I wonder how he worked that out. Unquote. Well, maybe you should talk to him and see. Nickerson wrote in another comment, adding all he needed to do in the past was show DC his contract. Quote, currently, I'm going through the same annoying process with DC as before. DC collected my work and reprinted trade paperbacks. I reached out to them about getting paid. They let me know that they had created a new rule in regards to the amount that needs to be accumulated before they pay me. I reminded DC that my contract states otherwise, unquote. He added. So it's we have some more. Hey RJ, thanks for popping in. Let's see now. Honk honk. Hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Thank you RJ for that. Oh, that's probably didn't do it that way then. Alrighty then. Let's see now. Thanks for stopping in, RJ, with the like and the share and all that. So, anyways, continuing on here, you might want to stick around for this one because sure you would have stuff to say about this. Um, let's see now. Nickerson worked at DC as an inker and artist for 8.5 years, 2001 to 2010. During that time, he lent his talents to Superman and Steel, as well as titles connected to the animated universe, shows such as Justice League Unlimited. Today, he works on his own comic books, including The Sword of Eden, a Christian comic available now. I wonder if they're trying to pull something with him because he's not quote unquote woke. He's not somebody they want to deal with. So I wonder if that may be playing into it a bit. But anyways, do you think Nickerson will get paid? Tell us your opinion. Well, if he wants to make sure he gets paid, he may have to call in his lawyers to like hash this out and threaten DC with a court order to get paid. So well, anyway, so there's that article. It didn't take too long. Let's see now. So all right, and we got one other article we're going to do here. Then get down to it. Turn the radio up for that sweet sound. Oh, here we go. Here's the other article we're gonna do tonight. Let's see now. Before I continue on here, let's see. All right. So, anyways, all All right, so here's the other article we're going to do tonight here. We got started pretty quickly, so yeah, we're just at the 15-minute mark here. Let's see. Oh, I thought it was Bean Books. It's actually Baen Books, Baen. I thought it was Bean. I first read it. Baen Books publishes their first graphic novels this summer after being inspired by the success of Eric July's Rippaverse. Article by John F. Trent, published back on the 22nd, so last Thursday. Science fiction and fantasy publisher Baen Books published their first two graphic novels this summer in Ascendant, Star Spangled Squadron, and Black Tide Rising. I guess it's from Ascendant, Star Spangled Squadron. In a press release, Baen Books detailed their decision to publish the graphic novels. Quote, was a combination of three of things. All right, unquote. First, they saw the success of publishers like Scholastic in the graphic novel genre. Next, they mentioned the success of Eric July and his huge campaigns for ISOM #1 and ISOM #2. The first campaign sold 62,670 books and grossed $30.7 million in sales. July followed that success up with ISOM #2. He's already sold 21,447 books and grossed $1.5 million in sales. Finally, Baen notes that they received a great pitch from Mike Lerman and Hound Dog Media to adapt Baen's New York Times best-selling Black Tide Rising novel series. Black Tide Rising. So, yeah. Black Tide Rising, Volume 1. Black Tide Rising, Volume 1 was originally crowdfunded on Indiegogo and grossed $57,345 in sales. The first volume is now being published through Baen and adapts John Ringo's Under a Graveyard Sky, the first of 7 novels in the Black Tide Rising series. The series showcases, quote, the outbreak of a bioengineered zombie-like form of rabies that causes a pandemic which collapses society. Kind of sounds like High School of the Dead and School Days. Very similar premise in both of those animes right there. With the Smith family, the only survivors, eventually fleeing out to sea, unquote. Chuck Dixon and Derlis Santa Cruz adapted the first volume of the graphic novel. Whoa, eesh. Baen plans to publish subsequent graphic novel adaptation of Black Tide Rising series, with the press release noting they plan to, quote, integrate not only the original 4-book Black Tide Rising series from author John Ringo, but the duologies of Mike Massa and Charles E. Gannon, as well as some of the short stories from the 4 anthologies where they came. See if anybody's... Hey, Metal! Thanks for popping in, my friend. Ah. All right. So, Lerman revealed that Mike Barron will be taking over writing duties from Chuck Dixon for the next graphic novel. He said, quote, "We're very humbled by the positive reaction we've gotten from the fans who already love this world, and thrilled at the chance to create new fans through our graphic novels," unquote. Quote, "We can't wait to show you what Mike Barron and his team are bringing to the table for the next installment as we dive ever deeper into this series," unquote. He added. Aaron shared his thoughts on adapting the Black Tide Rising series. Quote, double quotes here. "Graphic novel fans, weary of the lectures and solipsism of corporate comics, will find Black Tide Rising a return to vital and gripping storytelling," unquote. He added, quote, "Real drama, real action. It will suck you in completely," unquote. The Black Tide Rising Volume 1 ebook retails for $8.99, while the trade paperback version retails for $18.99. So to get the trade paperback, you pay $10 more than the main comic. Okay, so that's another scene from Black Tide Rising. Here's something from Ascendant Star Spangled Squadron. Along with publishing the Black Tide Rising graphic novel adaptations, Bain will also publish Ascendant Star Spangled Squadron. This graphic novel was also previously crowdfunded on Indiegogo. The original campaign grossed 46,000 $933. The 96-page book introduces a brand new world of superheroes that aims to fuse, quote, "the extreme aesthetic of 90s comics with the iconic mythology of superheroes," unquote. The book's writer, Alexander Marcus, remarked, quote, "I'm so grateful to have partnered with Bain Books to be able to bring the Star Spangled Squadron to readers across the country. Readers will discover a new take on superhero mythology with Ascendant, one that stays faithful to the spirit of the genre we love," unquote. Ascendant Star Spangled Squadron became available to purchase through Bain this month. The ebook retails at $8.99, while the trade paperback version retails $18.99. So again, $10 difference from the ebook to the trade paperback. Oh, look at that! Quite a scene there, huh? That's an eye catch if I ever saw one. Do you plan on picking up Black Tide Rising Volume 1 or Ascendant Star Spangled Squadron? Anyways, so that's all the stories. Let's see, where are we at on time now? 24 minutes. That was all I was planning on going through tonight in terms of the articles. I do need to step away from the computer for a moment. I'll be right back, but I will put some music on while I'm gone. All right, I'm back. So now that we got through the articles here, now we'll do some of the wrestling wrap up. As of course, we got news. Impact Wrestling this weekend will be going down under for a 2-day tour down in Australia. AEW and New Japan co-promoted their Forbidden Door event yesterday. So we'll be getting everybody caught up on everything with that. Also, of course, WWE will be getting caught up with Ring of Honor and WWE, as well as of course WWE continuing to march their way towards Money in the Bank. I think some point next month. Anyways, let's see now. So we're going to start off with Impact. And on this last Friday, this last Thursday's Impact Wrestling. This last Thursday's Impact saw, in the main event of the program, saw Bully Ray and Steve Macklin defeat Eddie Edwards and Frankie Kazarian, which there was some miscommunication. Frankie and Eddie have a little bit of a thing going on here. Kind of, they're slash rivals slash friends. Both guys coming out. Basically Eddie Edwards, if you guys have been keeping track of that last year or so, kind of turned his back on the Impact locker room and still kind of has an attitude against them. Frankie Kazarian, he had a match with Frankie Kazarian at Under Siege. Tried to slap some sense into him. And out of, I guess, a mutual sense of respect for being, both being guys who were trained by the late, great Killer Kowalski, they were teaming up. Of course, Bubba Ray and Steve Macklin have been running roughshod over Impact, in particular, Impact president Scott D'Amore, whose actions at Under Siege in keeping Bully Ray from winning the 8-4-1 match had the Anthem board advise Mr. D'Amore to step down from his presidency. He thereby did, but before he did, he made a match for him and PCO for Bully Ray and Steve Macklin at Slammiversary. Joe Hendry defended the Impact Digital Media title against Uemura, lasting just over 5.5 minutes. This match was used to kind of build something up between Joe Hendry and Kenny King. Kenny King is, basically laid his claim to wanting to challenge Joe Hendry for the title. Killer Kelly defeated Taylor Wilde, one half of the Knockouts Tag Team Championship. In the aftermath of that match, as Taylor Wilde and Kylan King, the Knockouts Tag Team Champions, were basically trying to double team and beat up on Killer Kelly. Kelly's opponent from Under Siege in the dog collar match, Masha Slamovich, came out to save her. So that's an interesting twist. Jonathan Gresham, rivals Mike Bailey and Jonathan Gresham, teamed up to defeat the Design members of Angels and Cone. Dirty Dango defeated Bhupinder Gujjar in just under 2 minutes. And then Brian Myers and the Good Hands teamed up to defeat Ohio versus Everyone of Jake Chris, Madman Fulton, and Sammy Callahan with getting an assist from Moose, former Impact World Chairman. Hey, Hail Mike, Woody, Critical Blast, Mel. Hey, Shadowhawk. I got done already with my article. So, but I thank you for coming in on the wrestling wrap up right now. But if you stick around long enough, stick around to the end of the show, you'll get to hear also about what happened on this day in each history. And let's see what you have to say here. Just dropping in to like and say hello. Early bedtime. Night, everyone. All right. Have a good night, my friend. So, anyways, yeah. So, as I said, and they did, of course, record over last week in the 23rd and 24th. They recorded had the Summer Sizzler events over the weekend here on Friday and Saturday. Those were set up as TV tapings for Impact in the Impact Wrestling. This Thursday, on this Thursday's Impact, Chris Sabin will be Trey Miguel will get his contractual rematch against Chris Sabin after Sabin defeated him at Under Siege for the X Division title. And Trinity, in an intergender match, Trinity takes on Jay Vidal, who is a stylist for Giselle Shaw. Those two matches on this Thursday. And then, as I said, this coming weekend, of course, Impact has its Down Under tour, slated for night one of the tournament of the tour on Friday, which will be on Fight TV. Steve Macklin gets his contractual rematch against Alex Shelley for the Impact World title. Brian Myers and Moose will be taking on Ace Austin and Chris Bay in a non-title tag match, as Ace Austin and Chris Bay are the Impact World Tag Team Champions at the moment. Joe Hendry defends the Digital Media Championship against Eddie Edwards, and in a triple threat match for the X Division title in Australia, Chris Sabin will be defending against Frankie Kazarian and Robbie Eagles. That's on night one of the Australian tour, and then on night two, on Impact Wrestling Down Under, as they call it, Jonah Perazzo will be defending Impact Knockouts World title against Giselle Shaw. If Giselle Shaw wins, then the match that was originally scheduled to be Deonna Purrazzo and Trinity at Slammiversary on the later this month on the later in July on the 15th will become a triple threat match. Killer Kelly takes on Steph DeLander. Steve Macklin will be taking on Frankie Kazarian. Joe Hendry will be defending the digital media title against Moose. And Ace Austin and Chris Bay will be defending their World Tag Team titles against the Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, for a possibility of the Motor City Machine Guns, in essence, holding all three of the top major titles, with Shelley being the world heavyweight champion, Sabin being the X Division champion, and possibly, which I think would be the first time that would actually happen if that were to be the case. So that's all coming up this weekend from Wagga Wagga, New South Wales, Australia, from the Equex Center. So that's all we got for the Impact news. Now moving on to some Ring of Honor news. As this past Thursday's Ring of Honor, the one thing I can tell you off the top of my head was that Athena retained the Ring of Honor women's title over Kiera Hogan in a Chicago street fight. Let's see now. So on this past, as hosted on Ring of Honor Wrestling.com by Caprice Coleman. And let's see, main event for the night was, as I mentioned, Tina retaining the Ring of Honor World Women's title over Kiera Hogan in a Chicago street fight. In a Pure Rules match, Daniel Garcia defeated Rocky Romero. Action Andretti, AR Fox, and Darius Martin defeated Shane Taylor and the Workhorsemen in a six-man tag match. Layla Gray defeated Diamante. The Dark Order members, Alex Reynolds and John Silver, with -1 in their corner, defeated August Matthews and Davey Bang. As there's been a bit of a rivalry, as Stu Grayson has turned his back on the Dark Order and joined up with the Righteous, which is Vincent's group. So that story is furthering developing. Big Bill and Lee Moriarty made their debut on Ring of Honor, made their tag debut on Ring of Honor, defeating Blake Christian and Matt Sydal. The Infantry of Charlie Bravo and Sean Dean defeated the Kingdom of Mike Bennett and Matt Taven, as the Kingdom has been seemingly on a bit of a downturn of late. This is considered one of the top teams in the industry, and yet of late they've been kind of, on a bit of a downward spiral a bit. Former Ring of Honor World Champion, World Six-Man Tag Champion Dalton Castle with the boys in his corner defeated Josh Woods of the Varsity Athletes, and in a non-title six-man tag match, the Ring of Honor World Six-Man Tag Champions, the Mogul Embassy of Bishop Khan, Toa Leone, and Brian Cage defeated AJZ, Luke Curtis, and Trenton Storm. Kyle Fletcher defeated Silas Young. Trish Adonis defeated Allison Kay. Gringo Loco defeated Willie Mack. So, and of course, one of the other things, we'll talk a little bit more on the Countdown show for Forbidden Door this weekend. Athena defeated Billy Starks to advance in the Owen Hart tournament. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to that point. So, coming up this Thursday on Ring of Honor, coming up the next Ring of Honor on Honor Club, as it were. The card sets up like this for this week. So you have the Dark Order of Alex Reynolds and John Silver with Evil Luno in their corner, taking on the Righteous of Dutch and Vincent. With you have in a rematch from last week, this past week, Diamante taking on Layla Gray, who's still representing the baddies. Big Bill and Lee Moriarty will be taking on Caro and Tarek. Willie Mack takes on El Desperado in a match for the World Six-Man Ring of Honor World Six-Man Tag Team titles. The Mogul Embassy members of Brian Cage, Bishop Khan, and Toa Leone will be defending the World Six-Man Tag Championships over Los Ingobernables de Japón of Bushi, Hiromu Takahashi, and Shingo Takagi. Now, just so you know, the term Los Ingobernables means the ungovernable. That's, from what I understand, it's Spanish for the ungovernable. In this case, the faction translates as the ungovernable of Japan. So, Shane Taylor will be taking on El Fantasmo. Trent Barretta and Rocky Romero, the team known as Roppongi Vice, will be taking on the House of Torture duo from New Japan of Sho and Yujiro Takahashi. Athena will be engaged in a proving ground match against Casey Spinelli. Proving ground matches are those matches in which they're kind of like the eliminator matches in All Elite Wrestling, in which if the challenger wins the match, and they will get a shot at the title at some later date. This is, that's a proving ground. And another proving ground match, Claudio Castagnoli takes on Chuck Taylor in a proving ground match for a shot at the Ring of Honor world title. That's coming up this Thursday on Ring of Honor Club. And then their next pay-per-view coming up in July will be the Death Before Dishonor pay-per-view. I don't know if there's anything signed for that one yet. Take a look. No, nothing signed for that yet. That's still like a month away, though, or 3 weeks away. So, anyways, as we continue on here with the Meech news, so now let's look at what's been going on with AEW the last few days. As everything was leading up to Forbidden Door this Sunday. So, where are we at on time here? Oh, 43 minutes. Okay. I was right to. All right. So, over the last few days, of course, AEW added a show recently, Collision. They also, of course, have the Rampage going on. And then, of course, they had Forbidden Door and 0 Hour. So we'll go over that stuff real quickly here. So on the 100th episode of Rampage, this is apparently the 100th episode of Rampage this past Friday, the 16th, which was taped, of course, on the 14th. But what happened on it, of course, main event saw Konosuke Takeshita defeat Bandito. In a mixed 6-man tag match, Aubrey Edwards teamed with the father-son duo of the Briscoes, Mark and Papa Briscoe, to defeat Karen Jarrett, Jeff Jarrett, and Jay Lethal. Taya Valkyrie defeated Trish Adora. The United Empire team of Jeff Cobb, Kyle Fletcher, and Will Ospreay defeated the team of Chaos of Best Friends, Trent Beretta, Chuck Taylor, and Rocky Romero. This is, of course, a battle of two factions that are rivals in Japan. United Empire, of course, led by Will Ospreay, who had a match with Kenny Omega for the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship, which we'll talk about here in a few minutes, as well, and Chaos, a faction led by Kazuchika Okada, who had a match with Bryan Danielson to determine who the best in the business is. Let's see. So that happened on Friday. Also, yeah, that was Rampage. All right. And then on Saturday, Collision. And on the Collision show, main event saw Bullet Club Gold members Juice Robinson and Jay White team with Austin and Colton Gunn to defeat CM Punk, AEW World Tag Team Champions FTR of Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, and Absolute Ricky Starks. Powerhouse Hobbs in just over a minute and a half defeated Jeremy Prophet. In one of the first matches in the Owen Hart Foundation in the women's tournament quarterfinal, Willow Nightingale, the current women's strong openweight champion in Japan and New Japan, defeated Nyla Rose, as she was the second woman to advance, as Sky Blue had advanced after Wednesday's Dynamite. Andrade El Idolo defeated another member of the House of Black, as he defeated Brody King by DQ when Buddy Matthews came in to interfere. And in the opening matchup, in a match, in preparation for his AEW World Title shot against MJF, Hiroshi Tanahashi defeated Swerve Strickland. So that happened on Saturday, and then last night at Forbidden Door, as I had previously mentioned, of course, one of the matches saw Athena advance in the Owen Hart Foundation tournament against Billy Starks. She defeated Billy Starks to advance in the tournament, and will be taking on Willow Nightingale in the semifinal rounds. The main event of the pre-show, the 0 hour show, saw the Los Ingobernables de Japón, Bushi, Shingo Takagi, and Hiromu Takahashi defeat the United Empire trio of Jeff Cobb, Kyle Fletcher, and TJP. El Phantasmo defeated Stu Grayson in a one-on-one match. And to open up the 0 hour show, the four members of the Mogul Embassy of Brian Cage, Bishop Khan, Toa Leone, the Ring of Honor World Six-Man Tag Champions, with Swerve Strickland combined to defeat the Chaos Foursome, or the team of Trent Beretta and Chuck Taylor, the best friends in Rocky Romero of Chaos, and El Desperado. Now, in a dark match, of course, Tom Lawler defeated Serpentico. Originally, Tom Lawler was supposed to take on Adam Cole at Forbidden Door, but Cole ended up having to be pulled because when he got there, he had a bit of a fever. They were worried that he might have the flu, so Cole was pulled from his match. So Lawler got a dark match, prior to the pre-show. And then on the event itself, I get back to it. The event saw the following here. Bryan Danielson defeated Kazuchika Okada in the main event. Now, during the match, apparently, Danielson suffered another injury. He's been injured, and that's why he hasn't been wrestling much of late. But this injury sounds like it's a little more serious. He may be out 6 to 8 weeks in terms of out of in-ring competition. But he was able to, basically go through and beat Okada. In a highly anticipated 6-man tag match, Darby Allin, Sting, and their partner, the leader of Los Ingobernables de Japón, Tetsuya Naito, defeated the team calling themselves the Suzuki Gods of Minoru Suzuki and the Jericho Appreciation Society members, Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara. The one title that did change hands on the night was the IWGP United States heavyweight title, as Will Ospreay got his revenge on Kenny Omega from the match they had at Wrestle Kingdom earlier this year. Will Ospreay is now a 2-time IWGP United States heavyweight champion, with, of course, Don Callis in his corner. Tony Storm retained the AEW Women's World title over Willow Nightingale, the New Japan women's strong open weight champion. Of course, she had the other two members of the Outcast, Ruby Soho and Saraya, in her corner, so would not have surprised me if they got themselves involved. Anyways, I'm going to just go off camera here for a quick moment, because I should have did that earlier. I will start remembering to do that. Remember to turn that thing off before the show, or at least at the start of the show. Waiting until the end. Anyways, continuing on here. In a 10-man tag team match, the Elite of Adam Page, the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, teamed with Eddie Kingston and Tomohiro Ishii to defeat Blackpool Combat Club members of Claudio Castagnoli, the Ring of Honor World Champion, John Moxley and Wheeler Yuta, who also had Konosuke Takeshita and Shota Umino in the match as well. Sonata retained the IWGP World Heavyweight title over Jack Perry, and what turned out to be Jack Perry's, the completion of his heel turn as he turned on Hook. From what I understand, probably attacked Hook after the match. In the four-way match for the AEW International title, Orange Cassidy retained over Daniel Garcia, Ring of Honor Pure Champion Katsuyori Shibata, and IWGP World Television Champion Zack Sabre Jr. CM Punk defeated former NWA World Champion Satoshi Kojima in a men's tournament quarterfinal match for the Owen Hart Foundation, being the first male to advance in the tournament in the men's bracket. And to open up the show, MJF retained the world title over Hiroshi Tanahashi. So now, of course, the fallout from that, the follow-up will come on this Wednesday's Rampage. Let's see if they have any matches signed from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, from the First Ontario Center. Thus far, I think the final quarterfinal match of the women's of the Owen Hart women's tournament, the final match of the quarterfinal rounds of the women's Owen Hart Foundation tournament will be taking place as Ruby Soho will be taking on last year's winner, Dr. Britt Baker. Also, in the first round match of the Blind Eliminator Tag Team Tournament, Adam Cole and AEW World Champion MJF will be taking on some challengers. So anyways, that's all the AEW news we have for you. Now, just to wrap things up with some WWE news, as WWE they continue to prepare for Money in the Bank in a few weeks here. Let's see. Let's see if I can find what we're looking for. So on tonight's Raw from Savannah, Georgia, and Trish Stratus was having some travel issues, but she will be there. Okay, no matches announced as of yet. Matches announced for of course, the Money in the Bank qualifiers are still going on. So matches thus far announced for Money in the Bank from London, England, which will be happening on. Actually, it'll be happening next Sunday. Actually, or this Sunday rather, July the 1st. Already announced as part of the Money in the Bank. Of course, the Money in the Bank ladder match. Okay, so all the members of the men's and women. So Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler will be defending the women's tag team championship over former champs Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Cody Rhodes will be taking on Dominic Mysterio. In the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, you have Shinsuke Nakamura, Ricochet, LA Knight, Santos Escobar, Butch, Damian Priest, and Logan Paul all participating. In the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, you have Trish Stratus, Becky Lynch, Bayley, Io Sky, Zelina Vega, Zoe Stark. Now, of course, the winners of the briefcases usually will have a title shot promised to them at some point. They can cash in at any time. Seth Rollins defends the WWE World Heavyweight title, Finn Balor in the main event for this Sunday's Money in the Bank. Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa with Paul Heyman in the corner take on former Bloodline members, the Usos, Jay and Jimmy Uso. So that's all we have there for that. So now let's start to wind things down a bit here, as today is Monday, June 26th, 2023. So we will take a look back at this day in Nietzsche history. 1933, 1998, and 2013. All right, so anyways, going back 50 years ago today, on this date 50 years ago today, Johnny Valentine would defeat Ron Fuller for the Florida version of the NWA Southern Heavyweight title. On this date, back in 1970, 50 years ago today, Johnny Valentine, who of course is the father of Greg Valentine, would defeat Ron Fuller, the older brother of Robert Fuller, for the Florida version of the NWA Southern Heavyweight Championship. Moving on to the next piece of Nietzsche history, as we head forward to 1998. As on this date in 1998, Sunbow Entertainment's The Salty's Lighthouse, from Sunbow, produced by Sunbow Entertainment, would air its final episode on TLC, the Learning Channel. So on this date in 1998, 25 years ago today, Salty's Lighthouse would air its final episode on TLC. Now, moving ahead, of course, to 2013, we have a couple of things. As on this date in 2013, the first issue of Batman Superman story Crossworld, written by Greg Pak, with art by Jai Lee and Ben Oliver, lettering done by Rob Lee, and then coloring by June Chung and Daniel Brown, went on sale on this date back in 10 years ago today, 2013. Sold for $3.99, was 40 pages. So on this date, 10 years ago today, Batman Superman #1 went on sale on newsstands. And 2013 is just so nice that we're gonna hit it twice. As also on this date 10 years ago today, Manglobe's anime Carnival would finish its run on Japanese television on this date. Would air its final episode on this date in 2013. So 10 years ago today, Manglobe's Carnival would air its final episode on Japanese TV. But with that, I thank everybody for being here tonight. I hope you all enjoyed the content. I hope you guys enjoyed the story and the news coverage. Back here tomorrow with more news, as well as probably get you caught up on what happened on Raw tonight, as they head into this weekend's Money in the Bank pay-per-view. And don't forget, this Friday, of course, we will, of course, Tim Olson will be joining me, as we'll be continuing our coverage of comics that went on sale in November of 1939. This week focusing on books that went on sale from Marvel Comics, back then known as Timely. So with that, I thank everybody for being here tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed the show, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.